So, never thought I'd be doing this, but Jesus, what is Disney smoking these days? They must just love losing money, because I can't believe they're still going to drop the live-action Snow White next year. That film has had bad blood since day one, to the actors being picked to play the characters, which I don't really care who they pick, but at this point, it feels like Disney just does it to piss people off, so they'll talk about the movie for like some sick free publicity, and then the set catches on fire, and then Peter Dinklage talking about how it's weird people are still making Snow White with dwarves, and that he thinks they should be taken out of the movie, practically speaking over an entire community and taking away their ability to try out for the roles, only for Disney to do exactly what Peter wanted them to do and replace the dwarves with non-little people and calling them magic creatures, and then getting called out for it and then backtracking again. And then finally settling on CGI, which just, why? And then Rachel, the girl playing Snow White, goes on a movie press tour and just says the most wrong things about the OG movie, upsetting longtime fans and making me think she never actually watched the movie, but just read those sad mom blogs about how princess movies always have the girls give everything up for a prince. And it's like, no, they all had something they wanted before meeting their prince. Plus, it's just basic love story add-ins. They were never really the ultimate highlight of the films. Nearly everything Rachel talks about is like right out of those blogs, and it's like, really? Did she watch the movie? Because if memory serves, you know what? No, let me dig up the VHS and rewatch this classic. One sec. Okay, he did not stalk her. The movie gives a vague explanation of him searching for her, which I guess makes sense. She disappears from the castle, then the queen goes missing too, as she's dead and no one has any idea. So the kingdom is probably freaking out and has like a reward for Snow White, or at the very least like has people looking for her, only for winter to come and go. And then the prince hears probably a rumor of a glass coffin in the middle of the forest with a girl in it. I mean, even if it wasn't Snow White, I'd be curious, and personally as a kid, I always assumed it was magic that made him kiss her, since the spell could only be broken by love's first kiss. So I don't know what Rachel's talking about. Plus, it's the first animated feature film produced in the United States and the first cell animated feature film, made in the freaking 1930s and only 83 minutes long. Like, obviously there's a lot of stuff left unsaid, but still, it's not whatever nonsense Rachel and other Hollywood people are paid to say, since no one thinks to actually watch the movies they talk about and just say stupid shit because they want to seem smart. And then we get the first look into the production and the dress. Oh, the mother frickin' dress. What the fuck is this? Now, granted, Snow White doesn't have the most jaw-dropping dress in the movie, but Jesus Christ, what happened? What is with the color, for one thing? I don't understand why they chose like this neon nightmare yellow, and they made her bodice like this very bright blue, and it just looks off. And I know it's going to look different when the lighting kicks in, which still doesn't look good now that the trailer dropped. Like, look at it! Why? And let me be clear, I'm not upset it doesn't look accurate to the cartoon. I'm upset with how off it looks. Like, it doesn't feel like a real dress someone would wear. Like, it just looks so off, and she stands out so much that it really highlights the CGI, and not in a good way. And I'm also kind of disappointed in the lack of structure and design. There's nothing unique, fantastical, or whimsical about it. It just looks like something you could buy at a Halloween store, which is so disappointing knowing that the person who made Cinderella's live action dress is the same person who worked on this dress. Like, and what bugs me the most is like the skirt and bodice are not the same type of fabric, giving it this weird mismatch look. Plus, chiffon is what I'm thinking the skirt is made with, is such a weird fabric to work with. There's a reason you don't see it used a lot, and I will point out that at some point during the film, it does look like she has on a second skirt, which looks so much better on, so to lose it was a mistake. Now, as for the historical side, I will say I like they went more accurate in shape, because yeah, they didn't have to go super historical. Cinderella has proven that, but I kind of wish they did, because what we ended up with is like the sad version of what a 1500s dress actually looks like, especially the bodice area. Yes, the waistline is accurate along with the zigzag ribbon, but it's just so plain and lackluster. Usually the bodice is more decorative or has a lot more gold embellishments and more of a tube top shape, and since Snow White is royalty, it would be fine to give her a more royal-like appearance. I mean, their lame attempt to give her some is super unnoticeable. That's right, they gave her a belt, which just no. Also, her lack of stripes is insane. Yeah, they went with a printed design fabric, but it's so hard to notice unless you're like right up in front of her. So if they had done stripes, it would have helped better at blending her colors instead of this weird half and half. And I have to say it because it's been driving me crazy, but I guarantee she isn't wearing a corset, or that her dress's bodice doesn't have one built in, and it's probably for the same bullshit reason Emma Watson gave. When are people going to realize corsets are just old-timey bras and that even men wore them? Like, they make the dress like it's supposed to and give more shape to the person. Like, I'm being so serious. These dresses are built with corsets in mind. Like, dresses made back then were all custom made, which is why they fit so well. Because when you don't have a corset on for a period style dress, you get this frumpy, lumpy fabric that just doesn't look right. Ugh. Okay, I'm done, man. Because like the reason animation doesn't go super all out with dresses is because they'd be too hard to animate, specifically back then. So when you say you're going to live action a princess movie, it gets everyone's hopes up to see what the dress will look like. And with a huge studio backing it up, we kind of expect pizzazz. So let's do that, shall we? Okay, so obviously I can't draw live action or super realistic, so bear with me. Now, I don't know what crack the hair department was smoking when styling Rachel's hair, but I'm sorry, this is just not flattering, and I kind of blame it on the original Snow White, as the person who was based around Snow White's hairstyle was this, a more 1950s tight curl. Obviously, it would have been tough to animate, so they kind of just outlined the shape, giving us what we have today, and it can be hard to translate animated Snow White's hair to real life if you didn't know about the reference. But also, I will say the 1500s didn't help either, as all we have to go off is paintings of the hairstyles with this same shape, but what makes it work is their headdresses, and though it looks like they did give Rachel Snow White's signature headband, so just like her skirt, they took it away, giving us this very bland, sad looking hairstyle. It looks so weird. So for the redesign, I gave her back the headband, but this time made it thicker and doubled. Also, don't ask the name of it, as it was just called rolls back then. Usually they're more decorative, but with how Snow White was dressed before she ran away, I'm gonna assume she didn't have as fancy clothes as she would have. I also gave her a snood, yes, that's what it's called. It's basically a hairnet, but with more embellishment, as some were adorned with beads, pearls, and precious trimmings. This was mostly worn by the rich, which I feel will help the dwarves to realize she is a princess, since in the movie they didn't realize till she said something. Or you know what, maybe she loses it like her cape and has long hair during the movies, since technically women in the 1500s had very long hair. I did also keep a few tufts of hair poking out, as that was the style and gives her a more playful vibe. Hair was like a big thing back then, so all the styles kind of had meanings. As for her dress, I went way more historical with it, but also kept it less decorative, as again, I don't think Snow White was given a lot of nice dresses due to the queen's jealousy. Like, her dresses were still nice because she is a princess, but not like princess level nice, if that makes sense. Anyway, I put her in a German style dress of the time, aka a gown with narrow sleeves and a extremely deep bodice, and though most, and I'm gonna pronounce this so wrong, Chesme have more embroidery. I just went with simple loop-de-loops. I also gave her a front lacing similar to the movie's version. So yeah, I kept the strings red, and yes, front lacing is historically accurate. It's just the style that's not right. See how it's two different layers of fabric and how the lacing is more in the stomach area? Like this is how it's supposed to be. And as for the sleeves, I did keep the panels, again, which are accurate, though the placement not so much. Not the paneling, the puffy sleeves. Puffy sleeves on the shoulders wasn't exactly a German style, as it was much lower. So from the upper arm down, they had more of a off the shoulder thing going on, but I wanted to keep some of the original Snow White's design, so I kept her higher puffy sleeves, but I did add more puffy sleeves, so now she has some on her elbows. Also, the neck collar thing she wears wasn't super popular or common and just looks weird to me in general, so I reworked it into a sheer parlette, aka sheer undershirt. Now as for her belt, yes, belts were somewhat common, though the sash belts were more loose, while the jeweled girdle, yes, that's what it's called, belt, was tighter and placed much higher, yet for some reason we get this sad excuse of a belt. Bad live action Snow White, bad! Anyway, I chose a sash belt so I could have a reason to give her a bow, since I took it away from her headdress. Now, as for color, I know Snow White's original color palette is half and half, so a soft yellow skirt and a dark blue bodice with red panels, but it was more common for the dress to be all one color, and the embroidery another color, so I did make her dress entirely blue and added gold stripes at the bottom and bodice to keep it even, though I did make her sleeves a different color, which was common-ish. Like, it happened, but it wasn't super popular, but I really wanted to add more red to her design. It always bothered me as a kid that her accent color wasn't used as much, like her lips, headband, and small cuts in her sleeves were the only red thing on her, and it was all just so small and hard to, like, really notice. So I spread it around a bit more this time and added some more gold embellishments. Now, if this was to be made IRL, I probably wouldn't use the fabrics back then, as a lot of it was velvet, which God no. So I probably would have just used silk pattern fabric just to get that shine for the gold parts of her dress, and a simple deep blue linen. The fabric has an old school kind of texture about it and can give the dress that historical feel, though it does wrinkle a lot. So maybe something of a blend or a little bit thicker. I mean, it could all be silk, but I don't think she needs to be super shiny. Oh, also, I did take away her necklace, again, because I wanted her to seem like she had less than she actually does. And I did make her eye color brown. I mostly draw characters with blue eyes and then color correct later, because I love the shades of blue that I pick when I do blue eyes. So when I color correct, I end up with a much nicer palette to the color that I'm supposed to be using. So hopefully that made sense, and that's about it. Now, I know the movie doesn't come out till next year, but please, for the love of animation, don't go see it. Don't give Disney any more of your money for mediocre crap. I mean, it's very clear the people behind this movie don't care and have constantly badmouthed the original and act like it's a stain to the Disney name, when it's the sole reason Disney is what it is today. And honestly, if they wanted to do something different, that would have been fine. Cinderella proved that. Honestly, I'd love if they went more grim fairy tale with it. Make it like a fun fall classic situation. It's been shown kids do like darker things. Like, damn, I am so down with like a high budget Halloween Town type production for Snow White. Think about it. It'd be crazy. And also, new Disney people and actors, enough with the talk and lack of romance in your films. Please, real life sucks. Why do you think people love Hallmark so much? That shit is catnip. Romance is fun. Low-key, I honestly think Disney just doesn't know how to write a compelling love story. Like, after Tangled, they just gave up and constantly hide the fact that they can't do it with girl power talk, which I'm all for a girl power character, but it's becoming a bit of a problem when that's all that's being shown to us. And it drives me crazy because, like, there are vastly different types of women and people out there. Like, Snow White doesn't need to be a badass warrior. Her being feminine and kind and trusting isn't a bad thing. Anyway, I'm getting too deep into the madness. Anyway, I hope you like the direction I went in and learned some fun fashion history. Next video will be Fun Time Chica. I'm actually super excited to show the design. It's so cute. Anyway, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Really helps out the channel and me. I hope you all have a super fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!